off, I have two confessions. One, at the beginning of this year, 2017, I manifested something. I said, God, I want to stand in front of at least 5 stages and 5 groups of people. And maybe like 3 days after manifesting that, I get a call. And it was from a church. And I said, God, I don't know about a church. I don't know if I'm ready for a church yet. I said 5 stages. And God said, no, this is where I want you to be. And so I spoke to Sister Gwen, and she said, we want you to be raw. I said, you know I'm raw, right? She said, yeah. We want you to be raw. I said, okay, I got you. All right, so that's confession number 1. Confession number 2. The last time I stood in front of a group of people was to say, Jesus is the reason for the season. That was the last time I was at a church on the stage, was for a Christmas program, to tell people that Jesus is the reason for the season. So I want you to bear with me. What I may say may not be for the seasonal Christian. That may not be why I'm here. But I am here for someone. Okay? So if I say 2 scriptures, take those 2 scriptures and run with it. But it's for someone in here. Okay? So I want you to know that. So who am I? Well, as Sister Sharp said, I'm Tanai Benard. And before I move on, I want you to know that I am an imperfect child of God. Okay? There's nothing perfect about me. Nothing perfect about my testimony. Nothing perfect about my journey. But I am here to tell you that one day I decided that greatness was my right. It's my right to be great. Despite all, that's me. I'm going to be great. So, now I've had what I consider to be an incredible journey, which I've learned a lot. Whew, Lord. Jesus, I've learned a lot from it. Okay? So I'm here to share that testimony with you, and hopefully my lesson can relate to someone in here. Now, let me talk to you about why I stand here and my purpose to stand here before you. 1 is to let you know that trouble don't last always. Okay? And as an educator, let me say that properly. Trouble doesn't last always. But you get my drift. Trouble don't last always. I'm here right now telling you, trouble don't last always, ladies. Next. Amen. I'm here to let you know that next level living is your right for the taking despite everything that you've been through. It's your right. Okay? It's a right. Okay? And also I'm here to let you know it's never about where you start, but where you finish. Okay? That is why I'm here, and that's why God brought me here to talk to you ladies. Okay? So here we go. Throughout the next 30 minutes, let me tell you about what I want to equip you with. I hope to equip you with and help you with the fact that you need to realize that the possibilities that are available to you. There are possibilities that I didn't know that was available to me until I took that right and said, you know what, I'm going to be great. I want to help you break away from the excuses and utilize courage to break down barriers. I want to help you properly respond to toxic environments and toxic relationships. They will kill every dream you have. Okay? So we have to learn how to respond to those properly. And lastly, I'm here to teach you how to walk in your truth. Okay? Your story isn't the story next to the person. Your story is not the story of the person next to you. Okay? We all have our own story. So can we pull up the PowerPoint? All right. Who all has a phone? Everybody in here has a phone. All right. So I want you to go to a website right here, menti.com. MENTI.com. Because I need to know who I'm speaking to. What barriers are we about to speak about? So, and there's a code, 430652. Okay? Once you get there, I want you to tell us what is or what has been your biggest barrier in life. What kept you from breaking through and getting what belongs to you? It's all anonymous, so if you type in something, we're not going to know who it was. So I want you to be as raw as possible. So were you guys able to get there? Yes. Okay. So just type in your response. All right, someone wrote fear of failure. Fear of failure. That's a good one. Wait. Ooh, Lord, I'm struggling with that one right now. Wait. Past relationships. Financial stability. Can we go ahead and get that up there, the website? It should be up. Low self-esteem. Oh, keep it coming, ladies. Finding myself and my purpose apart from my husband and my children. There we go. Insecurities, steady employment, past relationships, laziness. Wow. All right, so you guys just look over this. So that lets me know that what I'm about to say next is going to affect someone in here. Because I'm speaking about a lot of these things that you see here. Past relationships, fear of failure, rejection, insecurities. Okay, so let's go ahead. I want you to take a walk with me. Walk on my journey so that you know that I'm not perfect. And I show as evidence that I've walked that journey. So let me go through my journey with you. And as I go, if I'm speaking to you, you can raise your hand, blink twice, shake and hum, send me an amen, whatever you choose to do. That lets me know that what I'm going to say affects you. Now, normally I hate participation. Turn to your neighbor. I'm an introvert, so I don't really want to talk to the person next to me. But just raise your hand if I'm speaking to you. So here we go. Let's walk down my timeline from the age of birth to 34. First, I was raised in a single-parent household. How many of you guys were raised in a single-parent household? A lot of us, okay? At 15 years old, I started drinking. Some of you guys don't know that. A lot of you guys know me personally, and you're not going to know half of the stuff I'm about to tell you. So at 15, I started drinking. I would go to the corner store on Concord at 15 to buy MD 2020 in Boone's Farm. Then I would drive down to the river and sit there. At 15, I was driving. Drive down to the river and drink by myself at 15. So at 18 years old, I graduated from Clifton J. Ozan Magna High School. Whoop, whoop. I'm an Ozan Panther. No. So I graduated with honors from Clifton J. Ozan Magna High School. Okay? So I started drinking at 15, but by the grace of God, I graduated high school with honors. Then I got a full-pay academic scholarship from Texas Southern University. Okay? Now, that's 18. By 19, I had started smoking weed. I was popping pills, ecstasy, Vicodin, faux bars, hydrocodone. Okay? I was drinking the top shelf. So I went from MD 2020 to now I'm drinking Jack Daniels and Patron. I was also the party girl. I could tell you where to go in Houston on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday and Saturday, and Sunday. And I could tell you what the drink specials were every day in that club. So by 19, I was doing all of this, so guess what happened? I lost my full-pay scholarship. Of course. Are you guys with me? All right. So by 20, well, also in 19, I had my first miscarriage. I got pregnant, had my first miscarriage. By 20, I got pregnant again. Gave birth to my first child at the age of 21. 22, guess what happened? Gave birth to my second child. So let me backtrack. By 21, I had my first child, lost my scholarship to college, drinking, partying. So I had my first child, I stopped doing all of that. Then I roll over, I have to enter into the welfare system because I have nothing but a high school diploma. I'm making $8 an hour, if that, on a good day. Okay, so I have to enter the welfare system. I got everything they could give me. Food stamps, TANF, Medicaid, anything with a letter, WIC, TANF, AFDC, anything with a letter, I enrolled for it and I got it. So now, I done went from being an honor student to being a welfare recipient with no college degree. Just that simple. Simple mistakes. By 23, I had gave birth to my third child. I'm still on welfare. I now live in the projects. 3255 a mile, we call it the bricks. So I lived in the bricks with my 3 children and myself and at that time, my boyfriend, who was my baby daddy. That's how we like to call it. Eventually, we did get married. We still, lived in the projects. Now, by the age of 25, 7 years after I graduated high school, 7 years, 3 kids later, I finally got a degree, my associate's degree, because I didn't stop. Because once you have your first child, it does something to you. You know you have to push through. Once you have your second child, you really know you got to push through. And by that third child, I got to do something with my life. I got to get it together because I'm only getting $800 worth of food stamps, and this ain't going to happen, for too much longer. So now, by 27, I didn't stop at the associate's degree. 9 years later, 3 children later, a marriage, and a whole bunch of other stuff that had happened, I finally got my bachelor's degree. Okay? So it took me 9 years. So anybody in here who's going to school and you're like, I've been doing this for 5 years, baby, I did it for 9. Don't stop. Amen. Keep going. Keep going. At the end of it, I was taking 21 semester hours with 3 children, going to night school. It could be done. Okay? It could definitely be done. All right, so I'm at, 27 years old. By the age of 28, I finally got my first salaried position. So it didn't come at 21, it didn't come at 23. I first got my first salary position at the age of 28 and became a first-time homeowner. So I went from the projects to owning my first home, which was in a gated community. So if you're saying I'm in the projects, I don't know what to do with my life, baby, you can go from the projects to a gate. It doesn't take that long. You just have to put in the work. So that's 28. Now, listen closely. By the age of 30, I was divorced with 3 children. It's devastating. Divorced with 3 children and a whole bunch of responsibilities. However, I put my toes to the edge. I closed my eyes. I said, God, I trust you. Yeah. I trust you. And I jumped. I jumped from the highest cliff possible. And I said, Lord, I'm going to let you show what you can do because I trust you. Yeah. So at the age of 30, my life changed forever. What people saw as a storm, I found peace in. Okay? So at the age of 30, I found peace. And baby, I say, I've walked in my purpose ever since. So from the age of 30 to 34, I've celebrated my birthdays on yachts. I've ate caviar. I've sat at dinner tables with businessmen and surgeons in the Tuscany vineyards of Italy. I've sipped lines with my children through New Zealand. I've been featured in Essence magazine, the Huffington Post, the Washington Post, Black Enterprise. That's where my life has been. So you're talking about the 15-year-old who started drinking MD 2020 to now riding on yachts and showing how God good is. Yeah. Now, hopefully somewhere in that timeline you can find yourself. So whether you're at the beginning, like I'm on welfare and I just don't know what to do. Well, I'm proof that there is an end. Okay? Or if you just graduated college and you're like, I don't know what I'm going to do with my degree. Let me be proof that just say, I trust you, God, and actually believe it and walk it, and he will do the rest for you. So what I do want to share with you is how to break barriers and create the lifestyle that you desire. That's what we're going to talk about. So how to break barriers and create the lifestyle that you desire for yourself and for your children and for your family. The first tool I want to share with you is removing the cloth of fear to find your breakthrough. Okay? Fear versus faith all day. So you have to remove the cloth of fear to find your breakthrough. In order to get to the next level and create the lifestyle that you desire, it is imperative that you do those things which hold us back. The first fear I want to speak about is the fear of growth. The fear of outgrowing our family, our friends, our peeps, our BFFs, our sisters. You know, those girls, we've been down for the last 365 days. That's my sister. We're going to outgrow them. Our boyfriends, sometimes even our husbands. And for some of us, it might be our wives. I don't know who's in here. Okay? We will outgrow these people. Now, in order for you to grow to your fullest potential, you have to acknowledge that all relationships are not lifetime worthy. Some things are just for a season. But you have to be able to identify when to walk away. Okay? Now, this will be an uncomfortable process, but it's a vital one. Let me give you a story. When I lived in the projects, I didn't have any relationships with any of the other residents there. And for that reason, because I didn't hang out, I was called bougie. And this was before bougie was a good thing. So I was called bougie. I was called stuck up because I was focused. Because those projects was just a beginning for me to get to the next level. And I understood that. So the ladies called me bougie. They called me stuck up. Oh, she thinks she's all that. But I understood that that wasn't my end-all, be-all. So for some of us, we're going to have to eliminate those relationships with those people who say she's this or she's that. They call us friends. That's my girl. But then behind our backs, oh, she's bougie. She's stuck up. So we're going to have to eliminate that. And this is how you do it. Isolate yourself. So if you're on social media, you're going to have to isolate yourself and focus on certain type of people. And secondly, you're going to have to set your goals. Your goals may not be like your friends. Okay? And that's going to hold you back sometimes because they don't see the vision of what you're trying to do. Next, surround yourself with like minds and eliminate others who serve no positive purpose in your life. I don't care if you went from kindergarten to high school together. If that person has no positive purpose, they have to go. You have to let them go. Otherwise, they're going to hold you back. So you have to let them go. So that's one, fear of outgrowing your family and friends. Two, fear of failure. We saw that one up there earlier. Fear of failure. Okay? Many of us have a negative what-if mentality. We love to say, what if I fail? But sister, what if that ingenious leap of faith propels your life into the next level? Yeah. But you'll never know unless you try. So I tell you that what if I fail should change it to what if I actually succeed? What if this actually works? Yeah. Then what? So we have to change our mentality. So let me tell you how I had to do that, what if I succeed? So at 30 years old, as I said before, I was divorced. I had the opportunity to move overseas. I never, ever heard of this country before ever in my life, but it was before me. So I had to stand on the edge and face fear of failure, straight in the eye, and say, you know what? At 30 years old, with 3 children, about $500 in my bank account, 4 passports, and 8 suitcases, we took our first international flight of 20 hours to start a new life in a country that I've never heard of. But if I wouldn't have done that, 9 times out of 10, I wouldn't be standing before you to say, but God. Amen. And most of you saying, well, I'm a single mother. How could I ever do such a thing? Well, I'm a single mother too. Or I don't have a support system. Well, I moved to a country where I knew no one. And we survived. And we thrived. So sometimes we have to take whatever that fear of failure is, whether it's opening a business or starting school over, well, I'm 40 years old and I don't want to start school again. Why not? What if that's what God is waiting for to get you to the next level? You have to say, well, what if I succeed? So I no longer want to hear you say, well, what if I fail? Who cares? But what if you actually succeed? What happens? So here's how you do that. First, pray for direction. That's always number one. Pray for direction. You have to plan accordingly. Once he directs your heart, plan. Okay? And then you have to adopt a failure is not an option attitude. Okay? Failure is not an option. I had 3 babies. I couldn't lose. That wasn't even an option. And on top of that, I only had $500 in the account. We didn't have enough money to get back home if I wanted to. So we really couldn't fail. That definitely wasn't an option. That came by you a one-way ticket for one person. So I was going to have to do a GoFundMe account. We didn't want to do all that. So third, fear of rejection. Fear of rejection. Sometimes we have to embrace the no's, but know that the life-changing yes is coming. Sometimes we have to embrace those no's and know that the life-changing yes is coming. Understand that 1 million disappointing no's will never equate to a game-changing yes. Okay? I'll say it again. 1 million no's will never, ever equate to a game-changing yes. All it takes is that one yes. And we're gone. We're off. Okay? So we have to embrace that. Now, let me tell you, after I went to school for 9 years, I got a degree in industrial technology. I applied for a job after job after job after job, and I continued to get that sorry, but we found someone more qualified email. Not a phone call, not a letter sent to my home, but a generic email over and over and over. And I kept saying, well, maybe it's because I'm a woman, or maybe it's because I'm black. I gave every excuse. I never said, well, maybe it's just not for me. Okay? So I never said that. But sometimes we have to understand that maybe it's just not for us. But if I would have taken that job, or one of those jobs, some of those companies had mass layoffs right after I interviewed. That could have been me, starting right back over. Now, since I didn't take the job and use my degree, I decided to teach. And because I decided to teach, that put me overseas, which changed the direction of my life. So if any one of those no's would have been a yes, once again, I may not be standing here in front of you. I may not have had the life experience that I've had. I may not have written on the yachts and flew to Paris or, traveled to Amsterdam. Let's understand that. Now, also, when I went to go buy my house, oh, that's my dream house. Every other house was my dream house. But every house I got a no until I got one yes. All of those no's I got, few of them ended up being in flood zones after we purchased our home. So if one of those no's would have been yes, it's possible that our house could have got flooded during some of those big floods. But the house that I did eventually get a yes from, it's on dry land. The street don't even get wet. So understand that 1 million no's means nothing, but that game-changing yes is everything. Now, the fourth one, fear of gossip. Okay? So a few weeks ago, I got an email from a sister saying, I need support, but I'm scared to talk to other people because I don't want them to tell my business. Now, what we have to understand is that we need support. We need the support. We can't tap into our resources unless we speak to others. Because there's someone set out there to help you, but sometimes they're just waiting for you. Okay? So gossip is gossip. Who cares? Like I say, hey, they don't pay my bills. I know who pays my bills. Okay? So if you know me and you know my story, you know I will go on Facebook and say, you know what? Anybody is a chef, my daughter needs a mentor. And next thing you know, I have 10 people. Oh, I know such and such a chef. That's because I asked. I asked. Because I live by ye have not because you ask not. And I also live by I receive it. Because at one point I wasn't there yet. Now I won't lie to you. I used to get people saying, hey, I want to sow a seed into your life. Oh, no, I'm good. I don't need nothing. Because I got money in the bank. I'm good. But then I had to realize I receive it. Go ahead, keep pouring into my life because I receive it. So we have to break that fear of gossip. And this is how you do it. Please listen closely. Y'all listening? You have to get out your own feelings. Get out of your own feelings and get out of your own way. Who cares what she says about you or what she says about you? You have to get out of your own way. That's the only way you're going to receive blessings. That's the only way you're going to be able to build a support system. You have to get out of your own way. And you also have to understand that people will talk, but don't let that block your blessings. Amen. Now, to go on to my next point, fear number 5. And this is a very important one, especially for you single mothers, people who've been through the divorce. It's the fear of love or being loved. 1 Corinthians 13, 4-8 says, love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. Now let me say this. I've experienced this thing called love a time or two. And the way my tears set up, baby, it was nothing kind about that love that I felt like I was experiencing. Okay? It was nothing patient. It was nothing honorable. The love that presented itself to me was raw. That's what I first learned about love. And it made me block any type of love coming my way. Now, at one point, love had me questioning God's master plan for my life. It had it questioning my existence and my willingness to live. Now, this is the thing I thought was called love. Okay? I began to feel like maybe I wasn't deserving of the love that 1 Corinthians spoke of. Now, Let's figure out how to find that love and open ourselves up to being able to love, because we all want to love or be loved by someone. First, we have to develop a healthy love of oneself and embrace the extremeness of how awesome you are. You are awesome. I wake up every day and tell, Tanai, you dope. Yes, you dope. I tell myself almost every other day, yes, I'm dope. So I know how dope I am. And once you know how awesome and amazing and whose child you are, you're good. You're good. Also, you have to embrace that I am fearfully and wonderfully made. And more importantly, for a lot of us, we have to identify our unhealthy relationship patterns. Okay? Let me talk to you about my unhealthy relationship patterns. So, very young, I started dating older men. I think I was like 15 and he was like 23, my first love, 23 years old. Now, let me say what my unhealthy pattern was. I love thugs. I love bad boys. If he had a 3 for 10 T on and some gold in his mouth, and don't judge me, he can roll a nice little sweet, a swisher, a blunt. See, she knows what I'm talking about. Then that was for me. I fell in love. So, and that's just to show you how I was at one point in my life. That's what I looked for love, the thug. You know, if we could smoke together and pop pills together, and my sister was like, that was for me. So I created this unhealthy love, and because of that, I got the product of what comes from that. I went through an abusive relationship, verbally, physically. I had to deal with that because I made choices. So we have to identify those unhealthy relationship patterns. Now, this brings me to the second key tool needed to break barriers and create the lifestyle you desire. So we talked about fear. Now, once we overcome fear, we now have to be willing, possess a willingness. Okay? So we have to be willing to transition from a domestic thinker to a global visionary. Okay? So we have to be able to go from a domestic thinker to a global visionary. We have to change our attitudes about what's possible for our lives. Okay? Now let me tell you a story. So I don't know if you guys know, but I used to attend Faith Christian Center Church from when it was in hotels. And for a very, very, very long time, Pastor Sharp used to stand up here and he would talk about his jet, this jet that he was going to get. I'm going to get a jet. And then if you go in his office, you see pictures of jets just everywhere. So being that I was a domestic thinker, I would be like, why does he want a jet? Most pastors just want a front row parking spot and a Cadillac, and they're good. Well, why does he want a jet? But that was because I was a domestic thinker. I didn't understand what God had in mind for his people. So now that I'm a global visionary, I want my jet. Yeah. I want my jet. And not only do I want my jet, but I want my son to fly my jet. So not only am I thinking globally for myself, but I'm also thinking globally for my children. Okay? So for my son, he says he wants to be a pilot. All right, so mama going to buy her jet, and I'm going to let you be the pilot of the jet. So for that, I started him on the path to be a pilot. He said, you want to be a pilot on Tuesday? Well, on Thursday, at the age of 10 years old, he flies his first plane. And this is a true story. So as a mother, sometimes we have to put that global vision into our children. And when I say he flew his first plane, you guys, I didn't know he was going to fly by himself. I'm sitting in the back of the plane. I look over, and the man not holding the steering wheel, my child flying. I'm like, oh, Lord Jesus, let me live. Now, for my daughter, she says she wants to be a chef. So she's been in the kitchen with celebrity chefs at this point at the age of 12. Okay? So we have to put that into our children and instill that into our children, the global vision. You could be a cook. Sure, you can start off at IHOP, but the global vision is we're going to get you in Paris somewhere, baby. Okay? We're going to get you bigger. We're going to get you your own restaurant. So like Uncle Carlton, he wanted his jet, and I'm domestic thinking. I'm like, oh, okay, a Cadillac could be just fine. You know, it'll get you from point A to point B, and we can rent a jet. Now, you have to be that global visionary. You have to think big. I never knew that me, as a single mother, going to Paris was even a possibility. Okay? It was for Beyonce. It was for Jay-Z. It was for everybody else but me. Because I'd never seen someone who looks like me, who's a single mother like me, travel the world like that. I didn't know it was possible until I realized it was possible. So I stand before you to say if anybody wants to travel the world, it's possible. It's possible. So let's talk about how to go from being a domestic thinker to a global visionary? One, understand the wealth and riches God has planned for his people. You have to understand that. Once you understand that, you have to create a vision of what you want for your life. Next, you have to speak it. And then, once you speak it, because it doesn't help just to speak it and not do anything on it, you have to put action into it. You have to develop and implement a plan. You have to. That's like saying, Lord, I want a certain job. But you hadn't created a resume. You hadn't even filled out a job application. People don't even know what you do. You're like Tommy from Martin. They don't even know if you got a job or job history. So we have to do those things. You have to put in action, put forth the action. Secondly, you have to be willing to live a non-negotiable life by letting go of excuses, past hurts, failures, and mistakes. I'm a firm believer that if you know better, you can do better. And let me say, baby, I'm better. I stand here as you're better. I'm here as a representative of single moms, of product of one-parent households, of drug and alcohol abusers, of domestic thinkers, of welfare recipients, as a hurricane refugee, as a wild teen who acted out and started drinking at the age of 15. I am your better. So I never want to hear anyone in this room say, well, I can't because. No, you can. And I stand here to tell you, you can, because I've done it. So you can do it. There's no favoritism in the kingdom. If I could do it, you could do it. So let me talk about how you do it, because no point in me saying you could do it unless I tell you how to do it. One, you have to rid yourself of the woe is me mentality, and you have to embrace your wow factor. We have this woe is me thing down bad. Girl, how you doing today? Well, my gout acting up, my knee hurt. We go into the whole spiel of what's wrong, and we never discuss what's right. So we have to get rid of that woe is me. Oh, I can't go to school because I got 3 kids. Oh, I can't travel the world because I'm a single mother. I can't do this and I can't do that because of. But we never say I can do it because I am a child of God. So we have to get rid of that woe is me mentality. Also, we have to understand that our past do not dictate our present. What happened then, happened then. That doesn't mean it's going to happen now and in the future. So we can't let, I grew up without a father. Okay, probably 20, 30 people in here grew up without a father. Okay? I was raised in the projects. My babies was born in the projects and now flying planes and cooking with chefs. So I'm never going to let my children say, well, I was raised in the projects. That's why I do X, Y, Z. No, baby. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Okay? I would never let that be an excuse of why they didn't succeed. Next, we have to implement a positive language. Implement a positive language. Speak what you want positively. Okay? As Pastor Sister Sharp said, our tongue is important. That muscle is probably the most important muscle in your entire body. All right, number 3. This is important. As I stated before, we're going to grow. You're going to grow. And you have to be willing to walk alone. You're going to have to be willing to let a lot of people go and be willing to walk alone. Understand that when you become a global visionary, people won't always see your vision. People won't. And some may make their best efforts to detour you from walking in the purpose because they're domestic thinkers. And they won't allow you to see what you see. They're going to try to block everything to keep you from seeing your vision. Well, let me tell you a funny story. So I had a family member. When I got ready to fly overseas, I went on and signed every paper I could before I told people because I didn't want anybody to talk me out of it. So I told one family member, I'm going overseas. And they went in. Oh, you're going to take those babies over there to the terrorists? Oh, isn't it a war over there? And all this other stuff. Now, if I wasn't on the walk that I was on, then I would have been like, you know what, you're right. Maybe I shouldn't take my babies to those terrorists because I moved to the Middle East, for those of you who didn't know. And if I would have listened to them, once again, I wouldn't be standing in front of you. So sometimes we have to stop telling our visions to domestic thinkers. Everybody won't get it. Everybody won't get it. All right, and this is particularly for my single mothers and mothers in general. You have to be willing to take off your superwoman cape and breathe. This is important. In order to be the best mom, the best sister, the best wife you can be, you have to be the optimal woman that you can be. Okay, so before I was a wife, a sister, or a mother, I was a woman. Okay, so we have to be able to take off that cape. It's perfectly okay to not be okay. Sometimes we'll go down that path and we'll say, I'm not okay. And it's okay to say that. You don't always have to be okay. So in order to break down barriers, it's 10 times harder if you don't know if you're coming or going. Life comes fast. You have to know whether you're coming or going. So you have to breathe. Personally, when I feel like I'm just getting overwhelmed, I take a break, I take a mommy time out, and I say I'm going to the Dominican Republic. I don't go around the corner. I just take a flight and just go to another country. Mommy's going to another country. So I take breathers for myself. And a lot of people say, well, what do you do with your kids? Well, I have a support system. Because I built that. I've allowed people to come into my life, regardless of how judgmental I think people could be. I let them come in because I'm going to need a breather at some point. So if you're a single mom, take that breather. And I know some of you guys are like, well, how do you travel? How can you afford to travel as a single mother? Well, I use websites called escapehouston.com. You want to write that down if you want to fly. So with escapehouston.com, I've been able to travel the world. With secretflying.com, I've been able to travel the world. The kids and I went to New Zealand. And you know how much I paid to take them to New Zealand? $200 per plane ticket. So I try to find the budget way, right? Write that down. Get there. Want me to say it again? escapehouston.com, and thesecretflying.com. Thesecretflying.com. Yeah. So they give you deals. So those give you deals. You got it? All right. You got it, sister? All right. Let me know when you get it. Okay. All right. Also, I got like maybe 2 or 3 more points. You have to be willing to walk in your purpose. Now, let me tell you my story. So, I ran for my purpose for a very long time. I ran. And then someone contacted me and said, hey, I want to tell your story on my blog about you living abroad with your children. I was like, okay. I didn't know who they were, and I didn't really know too much about a blog, and I thought maybe they had like 30 cousins who read it, and we'll be done. So they put my story out there about the black mom who lived abroad and traveled the world with her children. I didn't think a big deal of it. And then she posted it, and after she posted it, within 30 minutes, she said, we've had like 700 shares on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. And then before you know it, it was up to 7,000 shares on Facebook and Instagram. I didn't know that a single mother traveling the world was actually a big deal. I just thought I'm doing what I feel like is best for my children. And then after that, I got an email from the Huffington Post. And if you guys know what the Huffington Post is, it's one of the biggest online news distributors. They wanted to share my story. Okay, I'm thinking once again, I'm going to fly under the radar, and nobody's going to really read it. I'll be fine. Life goes back to normal. No big deal. So they shared the story. I called my sister and said, hey, I'm going to be in the Huffington Post. So I'm thinking it's a really big deal now, I'm in the Huffington Post. And so she tells me, well, you're still nobody until you end up on yahoo.com. And I go to my desk in the morning where I check yahoo.com. Yes, I'm looking at you. And I go to my desk and I check yahoo.com, and you're on the home page. Then you'll be somebody in my eyes. I said, okay, well, I'll never make yahoo.com, so I'm not worried about it. Like a few minutes later, I kid you not, she calls me, she says, Tanai, you're on yahoo.com. Kim Kardashian and Oprah Winfrey and me. Like, hey, nah. So because of that, I'm now able to walk in my purpose. We've had over 100,000 likes on Facebook, and D.L. Hughley shared it to his followers, and the author Zane, I don't know if you guys ever heard of Zane, she shared it with her followers. So from there, I found my purpose. I could have ran. I could have ran ahead and said, you know what, I don't need nobody else to know about the single mom who lives abroad with the 3 kids. I'm good. Life is good. But I decided, nope, God put me here for a reason. God gave me this platform of over 5,000 people to share how good God is. So I'm going to use it. So what we have to do is we have to stop resisting the calling on our lives. Okay? He's putting the calling in us, and we have to stop resisting it. And then we also have to understand that this is bigger than you. I had to embrace that and understand that this is bigger than me. So before I run out of time, this is what I want you to do. You guys still have your phones? All right. I want to do a class participation because I am a teacher. So here's what I want you to do. take a selfie, or a ussie, okay? Take a selfie. And on that selfie, I want you to post it on your social media account. So go ahead and take your selfie. I'm going to wait. I'm going to watch you to make sure you're doing it. So post it on your social media account. Make sure your hair cute. Fix your eyebrows. Put on your lipstick. So take that selfie. Post it on your social media account. And when you post it, I want you to make a statement proclaiming your breakthrough. Okay? Make a statement proclaiming your breakthrough. Because so many times we put all kind of other stuff on Facebook. But from this day forward, we need to proclaim what our breakthrough will be. So take your selfie. Now, put the hashtag. I want you to add 2 hashtags. Okay, because I'm going to look for you. So take another one, please. Thank you. Get the good side. So proclaim your breakthrough, post your selfie, and use these hashtags. Are you guys ready for the hashtags? I still got some selfie takers. You know you got to take about 15, 20 like Sister Rita said. And y'all know Keisha over here. She's trying to get every angle. All right, so did we take the selfie? I got some selfie professionals back there still trying to get it together. All right, so we take the selfie. You proclaim your breakthrough. I want you to proclaim in the statement what your breakthrough will be, what barrier you're breaking down. And add this hashtag. Before you put submit or post, add the hashtag breakthrough challenge. Breakthrough challenge. Okay? And add the hashtag FCCCWAW. FCCCWAW. So it's going to be 2 hashtags you're going to put. Put your statement of your breakthrough and put hashtag breakthrough challenge and hashtag FCCCWAW. And I'm going to go look for you too, so get it together, please. Thank you. FCCC, Faith Christian Center, WAW, Women at Work. So the FCCC, Faith Christian Center Church, Women at Work, WAW. So we should have a picture. We should have a statement of what our breakthrough is. That way we can hold each other accountable. Because, girl, remember on April 29th, you said your breakthrough was going to be this. Well, let's work towards that. Okay? So let me ask you this. How many of you are ready to disrupt your norm and break down those life barriers? Woo! Yes. Whew. So my heart stopped beating so fast. And I got through my first speech at the church. So I really appreciate your time. And I hope you guys were able to take something away.